Hello, I'm glad you're watching. Today we're going to continue with Joseph. Last time, I hope you remember. Do you remember what happened to Joseph? His father had given him a beautiful coat. His brothers just hated him, and they sold him into slavery. And he got carried off to the country of Egypt, far away. If you can imagine what that'd be like to be carried away from your family. So we'll find out what happens. And our faith word is reconciliation. And that's to bring peace between persons who have disagreed. And it's usually more serious than just getting into an argument about something. It more has to do with getting along with each other. So I'm going to read from Genesis 39, verse 20 through chapter 40, verse 23. Okay, so Joseph is in Egypt. He's been sold as a slave. His master took him and put him in prison. While Joseph was there in prison, the Lord was with him, and he showed him kindness and granted him favor in the eyes of the prison warden. So the warden put Joseph in charge of all those who were held in prison, and he was made responsible for all that was done there. And the warden paid no attention to anything under Joseph's care, because the Lord was with Joseph and gave him success in whatever he did. Sometime later, the cupbearer and the baker of the king of Egypt offended their master, the king of Egypt. And those were two important jobs for the king of Egypt, or the Pharaoh. The cupbearer would actually give the king his cup when he was eating. And the baker, of course, had to bake the best bread for the Pharaoh. But Pharaoh was angry with them, and he put them in the same prison where Joseph was. The captain of the guard assigned them to Joseph, and he attended them. After they'd been in custody for some time, each of the two men, the cupbearer and the baker, who were being held in prison, had a dream the same night. Each dream had a meaning of its own. When Joseph came to them the next morning, he saw that they were dejected, or in other words, they were feeling sad. So he asked Pharaoh's officials who were in custody with him in his master's house, "Why are your faces so sad today?" "We both had dreams," they answered, "but there's no one to interpret them or to tell them what they meant." Then Joseph said to them, "Do not interpretations belong to God? Tell me your dreams." So the chief cupbearer told Joseph his dream. He said to him, "In my dream I saw a vine in front of me On the vine were 3 branches. As soon as it budded, it blossomed, and its clusters ripened into grapes. Pharaoh's cup was in my hand. I took the grapes, squeezed them into Pharaoh's cup, and put the cup in his hand. This is what it means, Joseph told him. The 3 branches are 3 days. Within 3 days, Pharaoh will lift up your head and restore you to your position. You will put Pharaoh's cup in his hand, just as you used to do when you were his cupbearer. But when all goes well with you, remember me and show me kindness. Mention me to Pharaoh. Get me out of this prison. I was forcibly carried off from the land of the Hebrews, and even here I've done nothing to deserve being put in a dungeon. When the chief baker saw Joseph had given a favorable interpretation, he said to Joseph, I too had a dream. On my head were 3 baskets of bread. In the top basket were all kinds of baked goods for Pharaoh, but the birds were eating them out of the basket on my head. This is what it means, Joseph said. The 3 baskets are 3 days. Within 3 days, Pharaoh will lift off your head and hang you on a tree. The birds will eat away your flesh. In other words, he was going to get killed. Now the 3rd day was Pharaoh's birthday, and he gave a feast for all his officials. He lifted up the heads of the chief cupbearer and the chief baker in the presence of his officials. He restored the chief cupbearer to his position, so that once again he put the cup into Pharaoh's hand. But he hanged the chief baker just as Joseph had said to them in his interpretation. The chief cupbearer, however, did not remember Joseph. He forgot him. So Joseph was given the interpretation of dreams by God. He could interpret what they meant. Think about the word reconciliation, to bring peace between persons who have disagreed. So in our families and with our friends and even with people we don't know, we need to try to get along with people. And if we disagree, try to work it out. Don't fight about it. So, I wonder, do you have a special gift? How can you bring your special gift to bring peace? So, which of these words describes our Bible story? Reconciling or forgiveness? Which do you think happened in that story? So, we're going to open the Wonder Box. And there's a pillow in here. So why do you think there'd be a pillow in the Wonder Box? Do you use a pillow when you sleep at night? Most people do. So I think that's why it's in there, to remember Joseph's dream. So when we're awake, we're always busy. When we dream, we're asleep. Sleeping gives us time to dream. Joseph had special dreams when he slept. His dreams often told him what could happen in the future. Do you remember any special dreams you had? What was important about your dreams? What do you think's important about this Bible story? So our Bible verse is Psalm chapter 130, verse 4. So if you can read along with me. But forgiveness is with you. That's why you were honored. Psalm 130, verse 4. And the reason this verse is used is that in our next story we'll find out whether or not Joseph forgave his brothers for selling him into slavery. And our Bible verse helps us remember forgiveness comes from God. We'll learn about forgiveness and reconciliation more next time. So, forgiveness is reconciliation. Those are spiritual things we can do. And a spiritual practice is something we do to help us connect to God. God wants us to forgive others. Forgiving and reconciling with others helps us grow closer. We practice saying we're sorry. So think of someone you've hurt and need to say sorry to. Imagine saying sorry to them. Imagine them saying you're forgiven. So this week, remember to ask forgiveness and forgive others who have hurt you. So may you always carry forgiveness in your heart, and God bless you. So the baker and the cupbearer had dreams. What do you dream about? Do you remember your dreams? When I was about your age in junior high, before school started, I would always dream about starting junior high again. And that's because when I was growing up, the junior high was that old building on Washington Street close to downtown. And it had all of these little rooms, either down in the basement or up maybe on the third floor. Like there was a little swimming pool in there, but it was way down in the basement. And there was a music practice room, but it was way up these winding stairs. And one of the classrooms was up more stairs, so there were special rooms, and I would dream about going to those rooms. So maybe you've had rooms too, in dreams. So in the Bible story, Joseph helped Pharaoh's workers interpret their dreams. Dreams can be amazing and interesting. So what do you think God's dreams are for our world? Do you think God's dreams include reconciliation? If so, what do you think that reconciliation would look like? So think about that this week. What do you think God's dreams are for our world? What does God hope for us and plan for us? So have a good week.